Okay, so the messy side of the couch is currently I'm working on like a few different things. I had this crocheted piece that I used actually to emboss a couple of pieces of paper and then to do some work with. But I have decided to kind of couch this piece down onto a piece of wool blend felt. And then basically what I'm going to do is turn this into a small purse. So I'm going to fold one of these edges over like this. And then it's going to be cut around, so it's not going to be square. It's going to be kind of like a cool shape. And then this is going to fold down as the flap. Again, this is going to be cut and that's going to be cut. And then I'm going to do like a whole bunch of, I think, embroidery and bead embellishment. So either the flowers in the middle will be beaded, and then I'm going to do embroidery kind of here on the leaves, or it'll be the other way around where the beads will kind of go on the leaves and then the embroidery will be around the flower. So I'm not quite sure yet. I so far have down just like the first 3 rows. I'm kind of going in rows like this, so I still have to couch down the rest of it, but it's all pinned in place. And so that's like one thing that I'm working on. Then the next thing I'm working on is this kind of collaged piece on a larger piece of canvas. Originally, I was thinking to do the whole thing. It's quite a big piece of canvas, but I don't think that I have the stamina to do that. So I'm leaving it as it is right now. It looks a little bit crazy, but once it's sewn down, I think it's going to be actually really cool. And this is combining like my own lino prints with vintage fabrics and eco-dyed materials. So, all the good things. So that's like the second bigger piece that I'm working on. And then obviously I'm still working on this piece here. I've gotten quite a bit farther actually on it. So I finished the halfway mark with all of the beading and the bead in the middle. And then I've started my way working around here. So I only have just a little bit left to do. And then the centers of all of those. And then once that's done, I have this piece of trim that is pinned down and also needs to be sewn across, and then that's going to serve as the buttonhole for a button. So I actually have a vintage button here that I'm thinking about using. It's metal, it's beautiful. I believe that this will fit through, but I haven't actually tested that theory yet. And then I just recently finished, and by recently I mean like yesterday, I finished this piece, which is an eco-dyed piece of muslin that was printed with hand-cut lino stamps. That's the design on it. And then basically I've sewn down a crocheted piece of fabric, which I also did eco-dye. And then I've basically used one of, similar to what I would be doing with what I was just showing you, I've used one of these, which the center one, as like a button closure for that. And this is a brass vintage button. And then inside is burgundy felt, and then there's some lace trim, and then there is some fabric just for the lip of this. So that's like one that I just finished yesterday, and I'm quite pleased with it. So it's always hard doing this with your left hand. There we go. So that's another one that I just finished. And yeah, so I've been working. I'm also currently working on, I had been gessoing these small or children's books. This one is not that small, but it takes a while because I can't gesso them all at the same time, and they take a few coats of gesso to be able to stick. But I did finish gessoing this smaller one. I only did one coat on some of the pages. On some of them I did two. But you can see like when they stick together, they kind of pull apart. I didn't sand this, though I know it was recommended to sand it, because I thought that like I'm not going to be painting on it too much. I'm really just going to be like doing mixed media and gluing things down, and I'm trying to incorporate a bunch of fabrics too. So I'm hoping that I did the cover and it feels like everything is sticking down pretty well, like nothing is peeling up, and it's pretty down there. But the idea for this book is powerful women, and so on each page there's going to be a collage and then also like a word. So powerful women love, powerful women write, powerful women, I don't know, like I'm thinking of lists of words. And so that's kind of, so the idea is to use images that have been like already created, either in the form of stickers or vintage ephemera from my Harper's Bazaar 1942 magazine or my Vogue 1938 magazine, and then use images basically of women in mixed media teeny collages, and then kind of powerful women like are wise, powerful women are kind, like powerful women I don't know, are strong, like something along those lines. I have to kind of think it out a little bit better, but in terms of the images, they're gonna all be kind of these ethereal, or like women just generally being strong. So yeah, so that's kind of the vibe of this small book that I've been working on. And then, like I said, this one I don't really have like a solid idea for yet. But I'm working on it. I still have a bunch more pages that I need to gesso. What I do like is that the colors are kind of funky, so I'm kind of gonna use that as like a base to make something a little bit brighter. And I don't know, like I don't mind if there's stuff that you can see through, or like that I can just kind of play around with. So yeah, so there's that. And then I did my eco-dyed fabric. So actually here, maybe we can go into that for a minute because I think it's really cool. So I did, for the first time, I'll take to the light where hopefully we can see the color differences a little bit better. So basically there was a black bean dye, which is all of these, actually this one too, which basically was black beans and baking soda. And you can see here like they're really gorgeous colors, really. This one turned blue, which is very different than the other ones, which I think is kind of interesting. And then I did one with baking soda, with vinegar, sorry. And so like you can see just like I hope you can see. This is not, I'll show you the original fabric, but that's like with the vinegar. This is with the baking soda. So you can kind of see this is like much more pink. I wish there was better light so I could show you really how they look. And like if you wanted to see the original, that was the original. So I guess that kind of gives you more of a, yeah, so like this is quite dark. It doesn't look dark, but it really is like a deep purple color. And then this is like a very, I don't know, it's like a pinkish kind of a purple color. And the same goes for like I think these ones came out really nice. These were these vintage lace. So that's with black beans and baking powder. This one is with the vinegar, and let's see if I can find the original here. And this was the original. This one is like one of my favorites. Excuse me, allergy season. But it had like these like specks you can see kind of like age all over, and by dyeing it it took that orange out. There are still some spots, but they're like a lot less noticeable, I think. And I think the color is just like really beautiful. Again, like if we look at even the lighter color, like it is much more pink purple than what it was before. So I'm quite pleased with that. And then the muslin came out very pretty, and I think it's interesting because like I have other pink muslins, for example this one, which again it's a little bit tie-dyed, which I like, but like you can see that there's a difference. Like it's definitely like a more purple pink. I haven't ironed these yet because I just this morning took the vinegar ones off of the drying rack, so I have to iron them and kind of do that. And then the canvas came out really cool. Like, I mean, it's just like I wish the light was better. The light in here is so bad. It's like a really purple kind of a color, purple, blue, gray. Yeah, and it definitely has like a little bit of like darker patches and lighter patches, which I really like. So yeah, so those are the fabric dyes that I've been working on. And then I still have like so much of this trim left. I'm really excited to try out some more things. I think I will do another black bean dye, and I'm gonna do more baking soda. I think it can go like a greenish color when you do that, so I'm gonna definitely give that a try. I think like right now I'm really just trying to figure out like storage. I feel like not even storage, just like organization. I feel like I want to be able to separate and label the different fabrics that I've been dyeing and like what they're dyed with, and so that I can do things kind of that way, or to at least have like bins for like, okay, these are the canvases that are eco-dyed, these are the lace trims that are eco-dyed, these are the muslins that are eco-dyed, and then do it by fabric. Because right now I just have one bin for all the fabric, and that's like upcycled fabric, that's like crochet, it's for all of it, for felt, for everything. So I kind of really want to find a way to do that. I just recently I did like an organization of all of my skeins of embroidery thread, and the ones that were like still not on these cardboard things I've wrapped and put, so now they're all like on cardboard things. They all have their tails like kind of tucked into the thing so that there isn't like thread everywhere. But like even this little dish isn't big enough for that. I also organized my beads, which I can show you. I organized my bead tin. This is the bead tin. And basically what I did was these ones, this I like was already organized. But I've taken this little thing which was being used to make my own watercolors, but I really wasn't like a fan of that, and I basically put all of the beads that, you know, like they're tiny and I didn't have very many of them, so I've put them all in these little containers so that they're, you know, individually there, and then I can just tip them into the lid when I use them, which is nice. And then I'm left with, these are 2 empty tins, which I love, and I don't really have anything to put in there. This was just like the excess, and I'm using this for that project, so maybe I'll tip those actually into here. There's already, I kind of, oh no, it's not that one, this one. I already have like a whole thing here of those to use, so I'm gonna just leave that. But I think it's just like about organizing the fabrics at this point. Everything else is pretty organized. Like this is basically all like patches and vintage buttons from my grandmother's hoping this is not one of those, but I always keep it there just because I'm like, maybe I'll find like a use for it because I think it's really cool. So like buttons, snaps, and patches basically are what's in this drawer. That is easily removable, and I can just kind of like have that sitting so that I can think about, okay, like what button am I going to use, or am I going to sew buttons on, whatever, to kind of get some use out of those. And then this is like the basket of the finished products. And then this is, I found a basket and I've been using this for like dyeable fabrics and like eco-dyed fabrics, but it's, I don't know. I just have to figure out like a good organization system for this, because it's too small, really, this basket. It's not really ideal for what I need. But I'm gonna make it work because I really don't wanna, I don't know. I don't really have that much room for any more like art stuff in this space. Yeah, I think it's been hard just like having one room where it's like your living room, your dressing room, your library, your bedroom, and your art room all in one room. And like I try and keep it like as organized as I can. Like I have my clothes there, I have my books there, I have the first two shelves are all like very organized. Like this is fabric scraps, this is gold wire, these are finished small projects, these are extra buttons that aren't in the drawer because I don't want to touch them right now. This is a binder of finished works. Then as I said, like all my books. At the bottom I have all my gardening things. These are art books. And up here, this is like stuff that I take out often, I will keep up here. So that's like the sewing box. So that's like threads, needles, like needle threaders, that kind of thing. And then I will keep my beads here because like I'm constantly reaching for those. And then usually actually also I just kind of stick my buttons in like that. And then like this is for all of the trims. If I'm doing like a wraparound closure, if I want to couch down a fiber. So like this small thing is for that. And then this I've been using because I have extra for threads that I used often, so I don't have to pull out the sewing box all the time. And then also smaller bits of fibers that I think will get lost in here. So that's kind of like, this is like my go-to, like, okay, I need thread, okay, and then it's always with my my pin cushion, which is for all the needles that I use the most, etc. I also usually put my little scissors in there. And then these are like the organized beads things that I like use very often, but again, like those usually kind of just rest in there like that. I'm gonna try and do some organizing now of fabric. I originally bought this plastic thing, and it's like too big for some things and then not big enough for what I actually want it to be for. And then like I did try separating everything into these little bags, but then I have some pieces that just aren't big enough, like that are too big to fit in these bags, so then I can't get everything together. So I've just put like all of my small pieces of eco-dyed trim are in here. All of my like crocheted eco-dyed bigger pieces are in here. But when it comes to like pieces of canvas, like it's just too small to fit the bigger pieces of muslin that I have eco-dyed and like the bigger pieces of canvas that I've eco-dyed. So I have to figure out how I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna work on that now. Let's see, maybe you guys can